just because of the way time zones work. Wait, no, hang on.
Yeah, it's just
this
over
is my time.
5
Yeah,
hours from
10
now.
10 p.m. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, so there will be a brief break, and then we'll be back with Darksea Corsairs versus Sky Ranger Jaegers.
Yeah, we've got that. Yeah, but we've got that 5th Jaguar Dragoons KDCM starting up in probably 10 minutes from people seeing this.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, yeah, somewhere around that. Just ballpark numbers I like.
Yeah.
We'll be starting up the map ban in 10 minutes from when we're doing it.
Yeah. Hard to work with. Time zones are pretty easy for me. But this whole idea of delay, complicated.
I can understand that. It is
it's difficult.
Reason why I usually have my right, absolutely. And it's unfortunate when hiccups go wrong because like troubleshooting takes a minute. All right, so we've got a couple minutes here. Oh, I should get invites out. Let's see, and then we might have a quick some time for some Hibernal chat once I get that done. Just a few minutes on Hibernal. Actually, do you want to chat about Hibernal while I get things set up?
Yeah, I can pull that up. Let's get that map on. Hibernal is a map that I'm actually competitive play, world, all that type of stuff. So talk just a generic team 1, team 2 here. Now your classic strats are Epsilon push. You know, a little bit less on the Kappa push. This is essentially Canyon Network. It's kind of based off the old Canyon Network. Some changes made to the old Canyon Network. This, I guess down here, this dropship, extra cover that didn't exist on the old Canyon Network. There's a little bit more cover here than the old Canyon Network had as well. But it's different than the new Canyon Network in that, Theta actually has cover, significant amounts of cover, as opposed to, there's a giant volcano here. And then, the tunnels are different. Ice tunnels. There aren't as many ramps on Hibernal Rift as the new Canyon Network has, or current Canyon Network, but a lot of the features are very similar. If you've played Canyon Network, you've played Hibernal Rift, more or less. Like, if we're getting into the nitty-gritty of comp strats, maybe there's a little bit of difference, but generally speaking, there isn't. If a team elects to play a range trade style, the power position most noteworthy is the Junkyard on Canyon Network. On this, it's a volcanic outcropping of some sort over in Bravo 5. And your other positions are kind of playing just on the back ridge line. Let's not draw an arrow there. Let's make it look nice. No arrow. We've got a back ridge line here. How do I make curved lines? Let's keep going.
It's the little dotty one.
Yeah, let's just keep going.
Yep.
So also you can play ridge line, kind of Charlie 4, Bravo 4 as the team 2 side. As team 1, you've got power positions like Bucket Hill and Delta 5. It's maybe not as strong on Hibernal as it is on Canyon Network, just some of the ice crystals where they line up. It feels to me as though it's not as strong a trade position. And then you've got, of course, the radio tower area, Delta 3, still relatively strong trade position if you're electing to play range strat. And then, of course, the back ridge line. Let's draw that out, Delta 4. So if you're playing around the Epsilon corner, that's kind of your power positions, your options. You play a receive at Epsilon corner. The volcano is very important, or to a lesser extent, Bucket Hill. And you play kind of on the ridgeline, kind of pull back if there is a push. Now, teams can also play Kappa side. Kappa side doesn't lend itself to range trade. Now, I don't know if these teams are going to elect to play range trade like what we're coming up here. It's a bit of a more aggressive meta in MechWarrior Online currently than it was 2 or 3 years ago when I was more active as a comp player, where we were playing, the majority of teams were playing range receive strats. Now I'd expect to see more of this Snubnos PVC type stuff going on with the strength of the red lasers in the current meta. Decks like the Crusader and the Executioner that can just boat a bunch of red lasers backing up a couple of peeps or what have you. But Epsilon push strat still very, very strong. And once you make it around that corner on either side, you're getting up onto those receive positions relatively fast. And uh, there aren't there's some limitation as to the spread that teams can have while still supporting against a push. Now, if both teams are brawling or playing more aggressive strats, then it just kind of ends up as a low ground brawl. Any Overwatch mech can be very valuable in that type of a situation. If you have one mech out in Bravo 4 or hanging out in Delta 4 shooting into the low ground brawl, that's advantageous. But I don't know how these teams are going to play. Like we're coming up on 5JDX versus KDCM. KDCM very known for pushing. 5JDX probably factor that into what they're building. Now this 5JDX is a little bit different than.
Yeah, let me push back on that a little bit. Sorry to cut in here on the KDCM. Sure. You are correct. They are very well known for their push brawls. However, as of last year, no, actually, I think the year before, there's been a shift. They have been diversifying into some range trats. They're becoming one of those more unpredictable units, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe KDX will be ready for them. I expect
JDX.
Jesus Christ. Yes, 5JDX to be more they tend to be one of those more versatile teams, much like JDX. Even if you push against JDX, like they are known for being able to trade, but they will receive a push like nobody's business. 5JDX. I mean, look at all those JDX tags. I mean, it's
I mean, they
got a lot of the same people, and they are going to bring those skills. They're a really fantastic team to watch.
Yeah, they're definitely. I don't know if they're where I rank them currently in the competitive team. Things have shaken up a little bit in MechWarrior Online the last little while, but they're definitely one of those top 5 teams, even if they're not necessarily a top 2 or top 3 team anymore. Just with some of the other teams having improved, and then some players moving around between all the different teams. And a prominent team deciding to take off this next competitive tournament. Of course, we should be covering a Kappa push here, as that is a possibility.
That is true.
Kappa push, you're looking at low ground from. What did I do to my lines? I wanted my arrows on here. Okay, there we go. Low ground push from Kappa for Team 1. You can either go cut in a little bit or go wide. And you can also supplement that with some crossing over near Theta, Charlie 3 low ground, if you're electing to make a push. Whereas against those volcano receive positions, the mechs can stay in the low ground, and you can't really see them from the volcano. Even from this back ridge line, you're not necessarily getting the angles in, so you need to get that scouting intel from a light around, maybe going toward Kappa or going toward Theta, and just kind of spotting what's coming and making that adjustment. Or else you can get jumped on this back ridge line in Bravo 3 before you can get out, and things can go poorly. Now, Team 2 also has some options to play around Kappa that they may or may not elect to do. Again, they kind of just spawn a little bit closer with the alpha, so they can go for a Kappa spawn, Kappa early grab, and kind of play a little bit more on the ridge lines around Kappa. You can get your intel if there's a range trade, because if you pop up on a ridge and you see enemy mechs on a ridge, you know that they're trading. Or if you don't see them on a ridge, you have a pretty good idea that they're in the trenches, and you can set up kind of either to receive or to jump in on them, try to get aggressive, try to find a pick while the opposing team is with the alpha spawn. If you're rushing toward Theta Kappa, you can get there early, but maybe you don't have the support from whatever you put in Charlie spawn trying to jump jet up and crossing, or the Bravo spawn just lagging behind. With the trenches the way they're laid out approaching Kappa, it's a little bit easier maybe for Team 2 to get their support in, get a bit of an uneven fight around Kappa if both teams do decide to just kind of rush toward it. Or Team 2 can have some mid-range receive around Kappa to participate in that brawl, whereas Team 1 is a little bit more limited on those options. Again, Radio Tower is a very strong position. Even if you're pushing Kappa with the majority of your force, you can throw an executioner or something of that nature in Delta 3 and just drive the opponents off of the ridge line that they'd like to be receiving on and force them to dedicate into either trench side where the close quarters favor the brawlers against mid-range stuff.
Let's put some closing comments on here. I'm gonna offer on Hibernal here. If you're on a newer team, all these strats viable. They've been set out. The one thing you don't want to do is get clustered. If you're gonna push, cluster up and push all at once. That makes all the sense in the world. But if you are trading, the thing to avoid at all costs is getting clumped. Like you will see folks on team one side get clustered around this Delta 4 position, and they'll just like be hiding around the same rock. That is death, because you are literally giving the whole rest of the map, and they are just going to have this nice concave firing on line on it because you gave it to them. Likewise, all these big rocks teams have a tendency to just tuck in, and yes, these death zones that I see you're marking right here, absolutely.
If you
don't get stuck together, spread out.
Yeah, if you're a very new team, try to stay out of those pink boxes, and I'd recommend the easy strat is just an Epsilon push. That is, if you have a low level of coordination, low level of familiarity, Epsilon push is probably the easiest strat to pull off. So if you're, one of those non-contending for top 12 teams, if you're looking for a finish in the 30s to 60s type placement, just kind of getting together, having a little bit of fun, not necessarily pulling out, scrims and practices. Epsilon push is a pretty easy strat to pull off. It's a classic for a reason.
Oh yeah.
And just avoid the pink boxes, please, please, please.
Yeah, it's a bad time. It's kind of like when the whole team in quick play takes the low ground in Vitric Forge. It's over immediately. All right. All right, we're going to start the selection process over here on the map band. Going to get my little typing fingers ready here as we see them pop up. So the way that this works, real quick, Team A, which is 5JDX, is going to get first choice of map. That is going to be the first map we play. And that's going to alternate until we've got them all selected. And then KDCM, or Team B, is going to choose which sides they are going to be. So it looks like we are starting with Polar. Interesting choice. We saw that last time. Everything is just going out of my brain right now. Help. Avens shows that. All right, following with Vitric. And then Crimson. All right, so we've got a little bit of a mix-up of maps going here. I think we will see every single map, even with 2 sweeps. So that's pretty exciting. All right, Mining will come fourth, and then Hibernal. We're now waiting on choosing sides. KDCM gets to choose which side they get on Polar.
It's good to see some map variety here. In prior competitive leagues, basically, you didn't see, anything more than 3 maps through until we got into best of 5s, where teams were being forced onto playing not one of the same 3 maps.
Yeah.
So this map pool may be having a little bit less of a clear, preferred maps, group of preferred maps. It's good to have variety, and this is early. Maybe teams will figure it out, and they'll figure out, hey, we only like these 3 maps, and we really don't want to play those 2. Maybe that'll happen yet, but.
And those of you who might be watching who are newer to everything, when you hit group queue, it's going to work much the same way. You won't be choosing 5 maps. It'll be a map ban rather than a map select.
Yep.
But it is going to be, what is that? Is that team 1 for JDX? Okay, on Vitric. It's much the same. There are basically 2 maps. Like if you are a new team and you're just getting into the queue, pick 3 maps out of this pool, because you can. One is for variety, right? You can ban 2 of them, and guaranteed. One mostly for variety, and those are the ones you're going to want to focus on.
Yeah. So
team 1 for
Here the teams are playing the maps that they want to play in comp queue itself. When you're the team leader, you're banning maps. So you have 2 bans and your opponents have 2 bans. So if you always ban the same 2 maps, there's only 3 maps that you need to have a map strat for.
Yep.
And it's always the map that doesn't get banned that you end up playing in comp queue, because it's a best of 1. It's not a best of 3. But
Are
here,
they just going to make this easy for me? No
oh,
way.
come on. These
Just
teams,
the same sides.
yeah, these
That would be
teams might
something
know
Jay
what they're
would do.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here we've got Polar Highlands into
Yeah,
Vitric
all right.
Station, Crimson Strait, and then Hibernal Rift, which is, yeah, it'd be interesting. You know, Fifth Jaguars Dragoons picking Polar Highlands is maybe the more range receive map. If they want to play range, that could be why they're picking it.
Yeah, I would expect so. And then KDCM coming in with something a little shorter maps. And that's the thing. If you look at it, JDX has chosen the longer range maps and KDCM has chosen the shorter range maps just off the bat. So I think that is going to play into the strategy. But we are starting with Polar Highlands. I'm actually going to send us over to the map room while I get these started. Making sure settings. All right, we're going to start the team one timer now. Yeah, and let's talk about not Hibernal. That's what's up here. Let's talk about Polar real quick. I know we've done this before, but we will continue before each
Yeah,
one.
you know, Polar Highlands, a lot of walking from spawn, and it is that Gamma Castle point that if teams are electing to play a dedicated range trade, that's something that they'll likely be looking to try and take control of. But what we saw last drop, it kind of was dictated by Theta and caps and cap control, but it was a push across Theta in the previous match that we watched on this map today. I don't know if either of these teams are going to go for that kind of a strat, but there are range receive positions near Theta that teams could be playing toward. See if we can let's throw some circles down. I like circles. Let's make them pink. So just kind of like some range positions near Theta, and then also further back as well. There are some elevated positions that teams could be playing toward. A little bit hard to tell what's what on here because of the everything's white from an overview top view here. But you know, we saw how fast the caps can tick in a 5 cap scenario where one team grabs 3 or 4 caps. And so these teams need to keep an eye on that because they do spend, like literally the results are going to spend a minute and a half walking toward Theta if they elect to head that way. It's just a really long walk from spawn. And you know, if the caps are ticking that entire time, you know, you look up at the scoreboard and the opponent team is at 500 caps already. And that's a situation both teams need to try and avoid, losing track of where what the cap situation is. And early on, we could see scouts going out to the side caps, even if they're playing a mid-range pressure. There's enough time for the lights to go grab Kappa or Gamma and get a scout toward the main before your main body makes it up toward more of these closer range trade positions. You know, there's a lot of time for those scouts to get that intel and grab a cap before rejoining the main. Or you can rush Theta, and rushing Theta is a popular strategy on Hibernal Rift for the lights early game. You can see a early 3v2 skirmish at Theta or what have you. If you can get in at Theta early and then you hang out at these range positions kind of near it, you can kind of cover that cap, start taking the cap. It's just that when you move up as close as some teams do toward Theta, they can get jumped as well. It's a little bit quick play to play around Theta, but because of the cap situation and how fast those caps can tick, I think in competitive we tend to see that a fair bit as well. Again, I love doing the long range slow trading on this map, but it just takes so long to get into position. In a 5 cap format, it can just kind of get out of control too fast.
Potentially. Depends on what your Wolfpack is doing. If they're on top of those caps, like you got all the time in the world to get there. Yeah. For sure. But, you know, again, this is a different, and here's another thing. Anyone new watching this to get a sense of what it is, very different than quick play. You know, you need the tactics. You got to think about these things. It's about the big brain plays. You can't just quick play yourself into this. Yeah. So things that you see in quick play that work won't necessarily work here. They could, but in general, you're going to be so much more coordinated and effective that certain things you won't be able to stumble into.
The big difference is that well, okay, you're on VoIP, so that's part of it. But you pre-coordinate your mechs together, knowing the map. So if you want to run a 5-pack on here, you can just pick out which 5 mechs are going to be packing together. Give them a similar speed with coordinating their specific builds on the various variants, and then like pre-plan your pathing and all of that. And in quick play, you just drop into a match, and you don't know what you're bringing, what map you're going to when you decide what mech you're bringing. And that really changes things up in terms of ability to coordinate a strategy.
All right. And actually, that's probably a good point for us to swap over. We're going to.
Teams are looking ready.
Yes. So we are going to launch as soon as I can figure my fingers out how to type launching in the chat. I'm pretty sure I spelled it wrong too. So you know what? We're going with what we got. All right.
Yeah, both teams have the full 480 tons. There. So no surprises there.
We have the right sides, right? JDX on the left. It's so weird having to think about whether I have to switch the sides or not. But hey, I don't have to think about it here. So thank you to JDX and KDCM for making my job all that much easier.
All right, getting in on the Polar Highlands. I'm excited to see what these teams are bringing.
Heck yeah. Side thought. I know it's like off topic, but I wonder what goes into the decision to use drop ships or stick them on the ground.
Well, the old maps didn't have drop ships. That's maybe part of it, but there aren't a whole lot of those maps left in this game, so...
Yeah. All right, here we are. We're doing side note over. All right, I'm over here with KDCM. I've got a Piranha 1.
Piranha.
Let's see what the mix is on that. James in that. James, a legendary light pilot here. We've got Jane and Exy. Again, curious on that. PPCs, small pulse in the fists. The skull again with PPCs, LV20s. This is looking a little pushy, quite frankly. Let's see what's on the summoner before I make that distinction. SRMs, this is a push from KDCM, 100%.
All right, so we've got a lot of bracket builds, as is the meta right now, out of 5JDX, or 5th Jaguar Dragoons. They do have an ER large Supernova, mass ER large. I believe it was 6. No, it's 8 ER large on that Supernova 1.
Ooh, all right.
And then it's ER PPCs on the Crusader, and 2 ER peeps on the Summoner, Executioner. Executioner has a lot of red laser backup, so it might be able to handle a Brawl push. Summoner's got backup lasers with its 2 ER peeps. Rival's got heavy machine guns with its ER peeps. And then it was the Incubus had a single heavy large, 2 ER mead, and 4 heavy machine guns. So they do have a single heavy large there, which will provide some range poke.
Early fight, we're going to get some fight here at Theta. Yep. It's a 3-on-2, 4-on-2 actually. Bacon Lord.
Cougar ran
with the Rival throwing some in.
Yeah, they're outnumbered here, 5th Jaguar Dragoons. As soon as they see that, well, they've got the Vapor Eagle.
They've got Overwatch at this point. Yep, and they're tearing into Shones here. Let's take a look at how badly that is. Oh, that's a headshot, actually, more than anything else.
It might have not started much head armor.
Yeah,
Viper.
It moves around so fast. Headshots on them are near impossible. Lanner looking a little iffy too. I swear if I see another headshot on that, no, Lanner is cooking for the most part. Yeah, it's
cooked and maybe masked a little bit. That leg's taking some damage.
Yeah, I bet you that's mass damage in a strike. That's what that'll be. And here we are. We're grouping up for this push. Dario and Cougar are getting out of dodge, which is the thing to do. Right into Giggity and Jay pushing up with the backing up. Yep, and here they are in fact backing up. There goes Shones in the. Was that a headshot?
Nope, not a headshot. Center torso.
All right, fair enough.
Piranha is legged and side torso. It's down.
And here's the 5JDX focus fire coming right in. They've got the position. They've got the concave. It's kind of hard to see with all the UAVs, but you can see it on mine. They've got that nice little concave
Brawl's
going.
Just being focused here. Execution, a lot of leg damage there. Can it get finished off fast? Jay's already down at 50%. This is not looking good for KDCM.
There goes Grolsch. Jormungandr getting a little mixed up here. Mostly internal damage.
Yeah.
Looks like 2 wars.
Bacon Lord is legged in the Vapor Eagle.
Yep. Jay cooking himself 2 wars in the.
Dario's legged as well. No, Dario's not legged. Boy, they need to be getting out of that trench.
It's 2 and 3. 5J with really a commanding armor lead at this point, though. Jormungandr going to go down here very shortly.
couple leg mechs on the 5th Jaguar Dragoons, but the
Oh,
remaining armor on KDCM is not enough to get to that back line, I don't
yep.
think.
Brower should be going down here any second. Oh no, he takes Dreadnought out, who was gonna stay behind for Brower as they moved on, and Brower survives. All right, let's see.
Yeah.
We've got 2 fresh mechs versus 2 beat up mechs. I think we've still got all weapons though.
Yeah, Summoners
so it's gonna be
halved
tough.
here. Just got
Yep,
halved.
there it goes.
Ryan is
Kirigami losing a leg. But here's the rest of 5J
Ryan's
coming
mostly
in.
heat damage, but their last one up and they go down. So even the Supernova manages to survive with one leg missing.
Yeah, just oh well, they got through the armor a little bit on that one, but yeah, well done by 5J. They saw the push, they pulled back, they even held back for it. I bet you they spotted that early.
Yeah.
Which is the tough thing on a push on this map. It's viable,
and but
you can't be spotted. Once you're spotted, they have so much time to figure out what to do, and 5J doing exactly that, getting into that concave, using those choke points beautifully.
Focus fire was quite good from 5th Jaguar Dragoon. And I'm going to point out the early skirmish around Theta. Both teams were contesting it, but that allowed for the scout of the push. The push kind of just came through Theta, and no one from 5th Jaguar Dragoons got picked off at the Theta cap, and they would have gotten the scouting intel there with, you know, the massive UAVs, and then just seeing the push come through as they were evacuating.
All right, let's take a quick look at the stats here. Let me get those. I'll get the more detailed view here momentarily, folks. As soon as that decides to update itself, maybe. We'll see. Maybe it's done it without me seeing the blink.
Yeah, it's up for me now.
It's up. All right, sweet.
Got the damage up on the screen here. It kind of just, you know, there's a pair of double Ds over on the side of KDCM. The Piranha and that Viper kind of leading the push for the rest of their team ended up getting picked early. Some well-aimed shots, I would take it. And just higher damage on the side of the 5th Jaguar Dragoons, successfully pulling off the receive.
Yeah, those CT shots on that Viper really did take it down rather quickly. It was when I was noting the headshot, the head open, it was a little weak on the CT, which doesn't seem like a big deal. But then 5JDX with that focus fire is just like, nah, get away with that armor. You don't need that. But yeah, we're moving on to well, actually, we kind of talked about it a little bit on Polar. If we want to do a little debrief on that, we kind of talked about it. But I mean, ultimately, it's a straightforward push. But let's draw some lines on a map while we got the time.
Yeah, why not? So it was KDCM playing from Team 2. There was an early skirmish around Theta for both teams as they ran in their lights, but the over on the side of 5JDX, they managed to pull the lights out as they got their support lines set up to take the receive on the incoming push. Ran around here and up on, I think India 8 was the other location with the buildings where they were receiving some of their mechs, and KDCM made the push. They were starting to go around the right side of ND8, and then they went around on the left side of ND8. I don't know if they pulled back mechs or if it was the light mechs that were going in. And the push just kind of stalled out, mechs dying, trying to do a pincer. They did manage to get some kills there in that India 8 grid with their mechs, but during that time, this back line from KDCM in Hotel 7 with the Supernova and what was the other mech? Supernova and Executioner and Summoner, I believe, right? And they managed to put in a fair bit of damage there, while KDCM just wasn't getting the kills fast enough over in India 8 in order to get, you know, the kills up top, drop into the trench, wrap around. It just was a little bit too slow on that full play. They ended up taking way too much damage. Didn't have the armor to complete the push. They were within range, but they had lost too much armor off of their mechs. Very quick fight. Just a skirmish around Theta and then a brawl push. Nice and simple. Anything you want to add to that, awesome. Or just on to the next map?
It was a brawl push, nice and simple. Like that's the thing about brawl pushes. They are ultimately simple. Yeah.
Let's talk always, about. But yeah.
Again. Well, yeah, but this one.
Vitric Station here.
Actually, one other point on that. you saw the motion from 5JDX and how they did have their screen in view of their Overwatch,
Yeah.
in view of their blue lasers.
Yeah.
That's critical if you are receiving a push. Just something to note. Stay mobile. And you know, your lights, get the fuck out of there. Sorry for
Yeah.
that. I guess that's my one to keep this rated PG-13. But GTFO. But under cover of your bigs, and they'll take care of it. You know, if they need to back up, they will. But can't stress it enough. If you're the light pack, stay under cover of your bigs, and you can have so much room to move. All right, on to Vitric. Sorry, those are my last thoughts. Oh, did we lose you?
No, I'm still here. Just
Okay.
Somebody's asking a question in chat.
Oh, gotcha. I'm working on rules in there. So yeah, Vitric, take over when you get a chance there. But in general, Vitric is you want to be on top. You don't want to give up the top, which is just what it is. I think we're going to see. Well, oh, hang on. Team one is locked, so I'm going to go ahead and get that there.
I think 5JDX might pull off a range receive strat here, where they would be playing. They're on team one again, right? No team switching, so that's easy. So there's some receive locations that they could be playing off on the sides a little bit. Maybe if they are electing to do that type of stuff, and then playing kind of back from the ramps, not up front toward the ramps. If that's something I can communicate there. And so what I'm thinking is that they might do the range receive, expecting their opponents to push along the ramps, or even a low ground push, and then these range receives locations can put in a lot of work. They've got distance between where the push is coming from and good sight lines toward it. Now, what we saw in a previous match here today was that there was a push, but what happened is the lights from the one team, they engaged in the low ground. These ranged Overwatch positions can't see toward. There's too much blocking terrain. They have no view, and you can't as a light pack, if you've got your range receive set up on the one side or the other, you have to have the brawl. You can't engage light versus light or medium versus medium as it is in a low ground position where your Overwatch can't see. You have to make sure that fight is where your Overwatch can see, and that's the advantage of playing up top along the ridge. Is if you're pushing with your main assaults, if you play up on the ridge, you can see down to all the low ground on either side, make that adjustment relatively easy. And whereas these Overwatch positions toward the back, they can't really do that. If they drop and they make a move up, they're basically just closing the distance against brawlers, which is really what you never want to do as a range assault. But if you can't see anything, you do have to make an adjustment so that you can participate in the fight. And that's a lot of just team coordination. Your lights and mediums have to have that game sense in order to know that they have to only take fights where the Overwatch can assist, or else they're effectively outnumbered. And I don't know if KDCM is going to make a push here or not. I don't know for sure that 5JDX is going to play range receive, but that is just my inclination here, is that KDCM is probably going to play top or the center, and 5JDX might be the team hanging some range off to the side. KDCM might play mid-range, not necessarily brawl, but they'd probably play it from up top with their main body, and then maybe Pop-Tart flankers on the low ground, as opposed to sticking something off to the side with like a direwolf or something of that nature.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think KDCM brawl on this one again, and I think they try to do a fake out on range on the third one. I think they like play those mind games some for. They've got a bit of trade in their repertoire. I think they're probably good for it. We'll go ahead and launch here.
Both teams have 480 tons, I believe.
Yep, both at 480. Yeah, and we'll see how this one turns out. I guess I don't have the here. Let's get that. There we go. Let's get that cool stinger going there. Sorry, that was vanity on my part. I'm not sorry. Not showing the. Okay, so yeah, you're.
I'm still loading in.
Oh yeah, it looks like your scoreboard is not cooperating.
Wait, what?
Not sure what's going on there. Yeah, someone in leagues just said it looks like your scoreboard was still showing EQ versus the guard.
No, that my stream
Which
preview
is
is not
interesting.
showing anything of that nature.
Curious.
I can check my stream itself. Every time I try to roll up the stream, though, it's gonna have an ad.
Yeah, don't worry. I wouldn't worry about it too much. All right, let's see here. I'm going to talk about KDCM here for a sec. Let's see. PPCs on the XC. Looks like a laser vom on the Marauder 2. We've got a Crusader with all the small lasers. So the small laser variant, a Dervit. Is this another push? Yeah, this is another push. SRM's all over the place. Yep, here's our KDCM push with James taking some points and hopping up later.
Okay.
5J taking a very nice spread of positions here, checking out the map. You can see the scouting happening. Just look at the mini map. A beautiful spread.
So I'm looking here at 5JDX. The Mad Cat has 2 UAC 10, 2 UAC 5, 1 ERPPC. That is a little bit non-standard. Phoenix Hawk, Snub Nose, small lasers, Executioner, 2 large pulse with 6 ER Mead and ER Micro. They're moving up with that still. With those ER Meads, they need to start pulling back, I think, on that mech. Brower in that Viper with small pulse, ER Micro. We have a fight in the basement already.
Yep, this push is happening here. Jormungandr, 90% in yellow, probably a little open head component, I would imagine, a little bit there. We've got a couple mechs holding the top, the Executioner and the Marauder 2.
Annihilator here is getting jumped. Grolsch is getting legged. That's an AC5 light PPC.
Wolfpack. Yeah, this 5J Wolfpack is being merciless. Meanwhile, KDCM also being merciless. This is Wolfpack eating the bigs, and we'll see what's left at the end. Jormungandr going down. Can KDCM answer here? We've got James pulling off for Weapon Master and is going to get eaten. Kieran's down, but James is in trouble.
Yeah, James and that is going to weaken that Wolfpack. Trying to get a dive on that Executioner. Executioner escaped to low ground.
He needs to pull back to his friends, though. They are in trouble here. Jay coming in. Weapon Master going down. Brower going down. Ooh, KDCM might take this.
This is looking good for KDCM.
It is. Jay is about to go down real fast, though, but the focus
Jay's
fire is
open in the rear at 39%, but the rest of them is fresh. So they just need to keep their front toward the enemy.
Cougar real close to going down. I'm assuming he's XL on that, so if they can take that.
Yep, there goes Bacon Lord.
This is going to be KDCM.
Yeah,
KDCM with the push. There goes Twarses. I should have checked that pronunciation before we did. And Cougar holding on.
Both legs open. Cougar down in one shot there. Side torso. Last one's Dario.
Very nicely done on KDC. Oh no, Dario's still up. All right, there it is.
It looks like it was legged, so they're down.
Fair enough.
Jay survives 28%. Everything's kind of not looking so good except for the legs.
Yeah. Well done, KDCM. Also, James alive at 30% net mislinks. Also very good.
KDCM picking up a little bit of an upset, but we are moving down toward 3rd seed versus 6th seed. It's not as large a gap anymore, skill level between these two teams.
All right, let's scoot on over to the scoreboard. All right, I'll put that in for KDCM. We are 1-1 right now. No sweeps. Doing a quick look over the damage. Look at this spread. It's all 300s. Oh, 404. Jay's damage not found, so that's a 0, right? No, but well played both teams there. KDCM with a little bit of an upset there. Well done.
It was when they got on that Annihilator and took that out in a pretty lopsided dive there. That's where that fight turned, in my opinion. They were able to. I mean, Weapon Master X lived a little bit longer, but it's because they dropped down to the low ground where they weren't really able to participate anymore, while the Mad Cat was getting picked off. So. Very well executed from KDCM coming up with that push there. And that's maybe a little bit of a positioning issue with 5JDX moving that Executioner up. It did have the ER Meads with the large pulse. It was more of a mid-range vomit as opposed to the bracket build with all the red lasers. So you don't want to be playing that as close up, in my opinion. You want to try and play a little bit further back. But in the end, I mean, it got pushed past anyways. The dive went on to the Annihilator, which was definitely playing toward the further back. And they weren't playing the side positions at all. Like the side positions I pointed out, I'm going to pop up the map here real quick.
I'm already there.
So everything from 5GDX was just playing toward the back of the I don't know, what do you want to call these bridges?
Oh,
The back of the rear of the bridges and a little bit toward the ramps. They weren't playing these side positions at all that I was pointing out as good range receive positions. So they didn't have that extra buffer space against the incoming Brawl push.
but they did go with the 4-man Wolfpack there, or maybe
Yeah.
it was a 5-man. But they had the scouting here. I'm just gonna like drop a. I'm gonna drop a bunch of mech things that are light mechs, but I'm using the assault because they're a little more visible. You know, I'm gonna change that to or something. At one point, ooh, sorry about that. The spread looked something like this. One underneath there, like what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and maybe like another one here. They had a whole spread overlooking everything. So they saw that push, and then I think that's where those outside positions, they just need more targets so that KDCM can't focus as much, and that's why they pulled it in. I don't think they'd use the long range positions necessarily,
Yeah.
but that spread, that scouting, they looked at the whole entire map. If you have a team that's struggling with scouting a little bit, look at that mini map, because it was so textbook. They saw the whole map in the first 30 seconds, and that's the kind of stuff you need to do. Saw that
Yeah.
push, was able to pull back. It wasn't enough because they were a little, somewhere below, somewhere above.
Yeah.
The receive could have been executed a little better, but that scouting, chef's kiss.
Yeah, and Vitric Station's actually a relatively small map in terms of like time from spawn till engagement. Um, it just plays very, very fast. There's efficient movement from spawn with these ramps right near where you're trying to get up, and you can just kind of straight line it without having to go around any terrain. So yeah, as a Brawl push team, there's not much time for the receive team to get into positions. You have to kind of pre-move. Yeah, you can get the scout information, but you don't have a lot of time to react.
Yeah.
And you have to come out of the dropship already moving, basically. Like if you hesitate and spawn, like on some maps, not a big deal. You've got some time, but on Vitric, it's just, it feels fast to me when I'm playing it.
Yes, it is one of those smaller maps, right? Which makes it what it is. Coming up on, well, we're past the 2-minute warning here on Team 1. Looks like they're going to use all the time, and that's fine by me because we can talk about Crimson Strait.
Yeah, Crimson Strait here. So 5 cap, again, Theta's off to the side, being that weird cap that everyone has to decide if they're going to ignore or try to play to. And we talked about this earlier. The island is the key. What was that? The rock that the turtle's eating?
Yeah, which is wild. Turtle eating a rock. Yes, the island is a key spot for sure.
Yeah, but that pink doesn't look good. I'm going to change that color. What color do you think looks good on the island?
Green is always nice.
Green? Okay. I mean, it's green on green, but it's quite different shades of green. Sure. So we've got the island. I don't know if both teams are going to go for island or not. What we saw previously was in a previous match, Team 2 was trying to play saddle, and playing behind Kappa, in front of Kappa, and then sending some mechs up onto the saddle, and that just did not work out for them. I think Team 1 might have the better positions here with everything, in terms of access to Theta being a little bit easier coming around behind or tunnels, as opposed to going over the saddle. Going over the saddle, your mechs can get scouted very easily from mechs in Delta 4, Delta 3, or even pushing up to the island. Whereas the mechs moving behind the mountain are a lot harder to scout, to spot. And you're kind of moving in terms of traders. If you want to dedicate traders to supporting Theta, from Team 1's side, you can just play on the back line of the city and kind of shift them along this railroad track to go support at Theta. Whereas on Team 2, if you want to support any move toward Theta, you have to go up onto the top platform. Top platform doesn't necessarily have the best cover, platform and saddle, against potential traders that might be hanging out over in, come on, I won't change that color. Delta 3, Delta 4 can kind of have decent angles down toward shooting at mechs on the top platform. And then also this window position over in Echo 3 is very powerful. Team 1 has better access toward that than Team 2 does. Now, Team 2 could
Real
just
quick,
elect
I'm
to
gonna
push
hop in
island.
here,
Okay.
just so we can get to launch just some sort of thoughts. My predictions here.
Yep.
I think we're gonna see 5J take very similar position to it was EQ. Some initial staging
Yeah.
here on Epsilon, like I was talking a bit, and then move to the island. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a KDCM push across the island,
Yeah.
playing those mind games, try to get those out, and then wolf packs just kind of descend.
And
That's what I think I would like to see from KDCM, but we'll see. This could be the fake out.
that's basically the two
Yeah.
strats that Team 2 has. You either go saddle or you push island, and pushing
Yep.
island definitely feels more KDCM.
Yep. All right. That being said, we're gonna launch. Get this show on that proverbial road.
All right, both
Again,
teams
I
have
like the stinger.
480
So
tons. Whoa, am I still here?
you are still here, as far as I can
Okay.
tell.
Oh, it's just a tab that did something.
Cool, cool.
I had a flicker on my screen and I started panicking.
Ooh, I had a weird hiccup before. Not the one that caused the crash, but
Yeah.
let's see here.
All right.
Oh, I did it again. What did I hit? This is we'll just watch people loading in. Everyone's loaded in. I don't know. There we go.
Okay. I'm
What is
here. I hear music. Sounds like we got a drop.
oh damn. All right, folks, hang tight. I'm having some overlay issues.
Okay, I'm gonna run through KDCM builds here. We've got an executioner. That is the hero with the mask. I forget the name of it. Skakomasher with Snubnose PPC MRM10, Quad MRM10. Crusader, 3 light PPC, 11 small laser. So that is not Snubnose PPC. Executioner with 4 ER large, 10 ER micro. Sneck, if you're pushing, I don't know why you have ER large. Now, this has been spotted. Somebody's gotten the scout from the water. It's large pulse, heavy large on that Marauder 2. And Vapor Eagle, or sorry, Vulcan hero with SRMs and heavy machine gun. Viper, which is small pulse and standard machine guns, and then 2 mechs that are going toward around Theta, but I don't know if they're going to commit to that. It is a Piranha and with a standard machine gun and a Black Lantern with red laser.
All right, cool. All right, I am back in. I don't know who's going to end up with lobby, so that'll be interesting.
Okay. Are you?
Yeah, we are back. Oh, here's that KDCM push on the island. And 5J holding out, not getting caught out by that. All right.
Yeah, 5JDX has ER large out of the Rancor with red laser backup. They're buffering with a Skull hero, Orion 2C hero with ERPPC and Gauss. Vapor Eagle has ERPPC. Warhawk has 5 large pulse. Definitely a receive against Brawl. Brawl is going into the water.
Ooh, KDCM really spread out for this push. This is not going to work out for them. Jay really messed up here. Unless they can pinch, who are they catching over here? Dario
Brower
and the Flea.
Black Lantern can probably
All
get
right.
out. Yeah,
right.
Dario's at 60%.
Oh yeah, there
down.
goes Dario. Dreadnought down. It's 1-1. Advantage
Windscape
to.
gets.
There goes.
Wow.
Oh.
Just got one
All right,
shot there.
KDCM
Both legs
it
went
down.
out.
Yep, good focus on that. All right, we're chasing Weapon Master. I think next is on the chopping block with Shone and Giggity coming around the backside, trying to prevent Jiffy from getting
Weapon
too many
Master's
shots. There
down.
goes Weapon so fast. All
Both
right,
legs.
Kieran.
And
here we
Kieran's
go.
open leg already and getting golf.
Oh man,
they're down in seconds here.
KDCM with the push. They were real spread out. I didn't think it would work out for them, but they're turning this around real nice.
Rotating that armor very nicely.
Oh yeah, Grolsch, looking at here,
Jiffy's
and here
being
you're gonna
ignored.
see, yeah, Jiffy coming back here now. Watch the armor rotation on this one, guys. KDCM's armor rotation going into this push is beautiful. As I was mentioning, Jay was sort of caught out and really kind of messed up. Kind of ended up in the back of the pack, right? While the rest of the armor went forward, allowing him to keep his weapons on the field, and that's what you need.
And then they rejoined the
with
fight.
speed.
They didn't just hang out, even though they're 24%. They rejoined that fight. They just made sure that somebody else was in front of them.
Yep. And using that armor, and that is how you push. That is that armor rotation that we like.
Bacon
to see.
Lord's
This
trying
would
to
be-
kite this. They do pick up a kill.
Yep,
Their
that
their
is what
leg
they
is
need to
open
do.
already
No.
on Bacon Lord, and those ER larges out of that
Okay.
Executioner, the 4 ER large from Sneck, probably could take this leg here, which would then a headshot
Yeah.
apparently on that the Viper. Bacon
Oh,
Lord's leg. This is now over. They did pick up another kill,
yeah.
but
Can you? Well, I was gonna say, can you give me the cap? Because mine are bugged, but you know, there we are. Sorry about that little hiccup, folks. We got back into the fight as quickly as we could.
so yeah, I did confirm the Viper was headshot. So
Oh, very nice. Nicely done. I should grab the eye. All right. These stats.
so that's KDCM with 2 wins so far.
Yeah, that is KDCM with 2 wins,
They're looking
which
at
is
pulling
the
up this
upset.
upset here. I mean, that would be
If,
that 6th seed taking out a 3rd seed would be a little bit unpredicted.
Absolutely. And looking at, we've got Dreadnought in the Vulcan with the double Ds, but everyone else putting out good damage, really
Yeah.
nicely spread damage across the board, both teams, quite frankly.
And the
Low,
thing
but good.
about that Vulcan is that they threw it into the water to draw fire away from the rest of their team trying to cross the water. They just ran it directly into a concave of 3 mechs, which then turned to look at the Vulcan, and it's a sacrifice play. Absolutely 100% called. That would not be, just somebody running ahead of the Brawl or anything like that. That was the distracting idiot as it is. So a double D, but the team picks up the win,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's go. I'm gonna head on back to maps at this point, I guess. And we can take a look at some of that pathing and where that went. I think that's probably going to be our most useful here.
Yeah.
Just drawing some of the path on KDCM. Obviously, we as we mentioned before, come on out here, take the island, which they did, and then they just started taking shots from the island and immediately started moving forward, and did a little encirclement around here. James taking out that flea, also very good, saying no caps for you, and that is essentially the path here. A very nice little pincher going on. It looked a little spread at first, but they made it work, especially with that. Oh, also, I forget who it was. One of the players taking the back route here to Epsi to get some of that kill.
Yeah.
Which really cut out. There were a couple mechs over here in Delta 3 that were not able to support those mechs. So it was basically pick after pick after pick.
It's
was
fairly
beautiful.
flat terrain at Epsilon, but there is enough slope that if you're in the water and they're in the water, they aren't able to see you.
Yep.
Just enough of a slope there.
Just enough. And a couple buildings in the way there too. Yep.
Well, once you get out to Epsilon, the buildings aren't in the way as much anymore. And that's the whole point of going wide from the Delta 4 push. Once they made it across the Echo 4, Delta 4, you go wide and you've got more buildings in the way. If you go shallow toward Delta 3, there aren't going to be buildings. So it's that wraparound path that you're pointing out here. The backside of Epsilon very much protects you on the way in.
Yep. And then I guess, just to pay it a little bit of homage here, there is a little light fight in where was it? Tucked in the back. I think it was
Charlie
there.
4,
Yeah,
Charlie
that was James just absolutely taking out Dario there.
Yeah, I just caught the tail end of that one. I'm not sure how it started.
Well, Dario said, "Oh, I should go get caps or get backstabs," and James said, "Nuh-uh." That's what happened there.
Nicely done. So the Vulcan did that sacrifice play, just running into the Delta 3 there, and allowed the team to cross Echo 4 into Delta 4 where they had cover. So I'm pretty confident that was called. And it's one of those little things that that if you do it right, it really helps out the team. If you do it wrong, you're just some idiot who died.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all dependent on whether it works. And Jay took a lot of hits there too. Oh, yeah. He was at 63, 65% before he got out of the water. But again, that armor sherry, that armor cycling, those are the things. Like if you're a new team, that's probably the big takeaway about these KDCM pushes. They do their pushes right. They're not necessarily difficult. Push is a very viable strategy on a host of maps. But you also have to do it right. It can't just be the NSR, the no skill rush.
That's the difference.
There's skill there.
That's the difference between KDCM's Brawl push and like your Div C, Div D team Brawl push. Is that KDCM, they put the time in finding these push paths where they do have the cover going in, And then they have the armor rotation that is just a notch better than most other teams that try to do the brawl push. KDCM made brawl pushing an art, whereas it's thought of as a brain dead strategy. But KDCM's really they put in the work to do it right, and it's really hard to stop. I've faced it in previous years. In the Div B or whatever it was, before KDCM moved up to Div A, but the KDCM brawl push, you knew it was coming during that era because they didn't have that flexibility of strats, but it was still really hard to stop. Next map up.
Yeah, we are on mining, and we've talked about this a bunch. I'm just going to go ahead and remark these death zones. Will we see a KDCM push again? It's very viable. But yeah, basically, I would expect on this side, 5J to, again, take up these positions on Delta 3 here. Moving up to Echo 4, Echo 3, up to Echo 4, and just try, again, map control. Their strat tends to be map control. KDCM, I'm almost thinking a side push. That's my thought. That I think is the play for KDCM here.
I'd expect KDCM to push on this map. They'll have jump jets on their mechs though, so they can get up into places. And I think this is a very brawlable map, and KDCM will be looking at that.
Yep. Not too much to say. We're just waiting on folks to lock up here. What that pathing might look like. You can come up the Charlie line, try to catch this guy in Delta 3, this one you're going to see the Fox line push less often, but it's still doable. Just because of that, Echo 4 is really just such a power position there. They can just shoot down here on the Fox 4. What's Fox 4 Ridge there? But actually expect maybe a little branch out here if they do the Delta line push there. All right, both teams are locked. I'm going to go ahead and put us into it. And we go.
That's a full 480 tons for both teams.
Yep. All right, here it is. If KDCM can pull this off, a 3-1 upset against 5JDX, I kind of hope they don't, because man, going to a drop 5 would be fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, let's get a little hype for this one. It's going to be good.
This is the first time that we've had other than a clean sweep so far in the Invitationals today. Both the previous matches went 3-0. So hopefully it's a hint to what's to come this evening as well.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see how it goes. Oh, actually, let me make sure scoreboard is properly updated. It is fantastic.
Wait for the players to come in here. There we go.
Yep. All right.
All right, I'm going to be looking at KDCM here.
This, depending on their builds there, I think that's where I'm going to stick to. Because,
okay.
So what's with the catapult? All right, you go look at that. I'm going to go investigate a JDX catapult over here.
All right, so we've got Night Gear, AC-10, ERPPC, Executioner, ERPPC, Red Laser Backup, Marauder with LPL, Heavy, Large. 3 Heavy, Large, 2 LPL. That is a quirk for heat skill limit. That is a big alpha, though. Standard Machine Gun, Small Pulse out of Viper. And I'm looking at Cap Mech here. We have maybe an early engagement. James Bond headed for Cap with Machine Gun, Small Pulse on Mist
This
Links.
is a push from JDX.
Okay, so
SRM,
we've got
a lot of SRMs here. Large Pulse, couple of peeps on the Hexy, but for the most part, I think we're looking at a push.
Yeah, so we've got SRMs on the Dervish, but there's a lot of mid-range receive here on KDCM's team. Assassin 21 out of J. What is on that mech? SRM 6 for SRM 6. So they have
the SRM one. Yep.
They have mid-range receive, but they're moving up toward Theta with it. That is against a push. This is not where they want to be located.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're expecting it, quite frankly. Let's see if they can get a peek on any of the builds. SRMs, which is a really wicked. The convergence on that is very nice. It's a badass spec.
They're hanging back and scouting though. They're not making that push yet.
Yep. James trying to sneak up on Bacon Lord a little bit. Looks like they have spotted him a little out of position, calling the Wolfpack over here. Or what, the Dervish Assassin.
Almost mirror decks to some extent, just different builds or different chassis taken, but a lot of the same roles.
Yep. Looking at Dario, a little hurt. Let's see if I can find him.
Here's a skirmish coming out. Jay, it's a 3v2. Catapult's getting jumped from Bacon Lord. That catapult is not the fastest or most strong mech. They're legged already. Bacon Lord's legged.
Yeah, they had him targeted for a bit. They were stalking him, waiting for the rest of the team to get out. There goes Bacon
Early
Lord.
Death. Now, KDCM's continuing to push.
Taking some damage for it, though. Yeah.
Next up
Dario
is the Summoner.
in the mix.
Summoner's down. Wow.
Yep. Chun's going down as well in that Viper. They're continuing to push. Weapon Master X going down. Is this going to be a KDCM upset?
It looks like it.
Koger and Neck. It is currently 6-4.
Nightgear's leg no longer able to participate in the fight. They legged him and left
Jiff
him.
and the Xy's getting jumped here.
That's the mech with the carry potential.
That's going to bring it back a little bit.
Oh, both legs open on the Executioner. Once that's down, this is over.
Oh, yeah. And they got Grolsch just laying into whatever he can. But here comes James getting into the back of Grolsch.
Down?
Yeah, he was cooking himself pretty hard. So,
legs open.
Yeah, just trying to save that. Here's Dario and James. Dario trying to prevent Grolsch from going down. Just provide that pressure on James. James still going for Grolsch. Grolsch open on the leg. FD going down in that night gear. Bringing it close. It is 4-2. Dario still trying to hold off James. Grolsch going down as the cavalry comes along. Let's see how James is doing. James has an open leg. I'm sorry, James with actual leg. Dario with the open leg, managing to just kind of stave it off. Last mech though, I don't think he's going to be able to hold it against the 3 here. Both legs open.
You know, the other thing is that Mistlink probably doesn't have the ammo to carry this out. That's
oh god, no, not
the heavy
not
machine gun.
They're not nearly damaged.
Micro, there's not enough ammo there.
But Dario taking James' bomb before he goes, and that's a KDCM upset, folks.
Yeah, 6th seed beat the 3 seed.
Look forward to see 5 JDX in the queue.
This is single elimination. So yeah, 5 JDX now has to play comp queue if they want to make it into the top 12 portion of the Worlds.
Wild. I didn't see that coming. I thought it would be close. I didn't see KDCM with well, not the sweep, but it was wow, way to go. Both teams there. Heck of a fight, heck of a cast. Let me see here. Let's head on over to that scoreboard. There we are. Looking at those damages, 500s on the KDCM teams there.
Yeah, Jay had 500 damage. I didn't actually get to see much of them fighting, but that is a lot of damage coming out of 4 SRM6s on that assassin.
Yeah, that's some killers on both teams there. Wow, just way to go both teams. And that's gonna do it for this part of the cast. I mean, we'll do some wrap up here. But
so KDCM they made their name Q Dodgers, and now they've pulled it off.
they have dodged the Q. That's right. Incredible. Unexpected upset. 6 taking on a 3. In a commanding 3-1 sweep.
Yeah.
All right.
That is not what I was anticipating here. I mean, I was hoping that it'd be close. I was expecting it might be close, but for KDCM to actually pull off the upset, and 5JDX deciding to brawl on the Mining Collective against KDCM, that is,
it's not necessarily their strength. Their strength is much more in the trade than in the brawl. They're a flexible team, but if I had to choose one thing for them, it would be the trade because they are precision shooters.
You might be a team that's capable of outbrawling most of your opponents, but it's KDCM. Like they're the masters of the brawl.
Well, they're the brawlers. Sometimes the brawls don't work out. They do what they can with them.
That's true
for sure. But if anyone knows how to do it, it is 100% them. All right.
Wild time there.
Yeah.
Are we wrapped up for our first 3 drops here?
We are wrapped up for our first 3 drops here. We will be back in about, 4.5 hours, same channels, same setup. Hopefully with less interruption on my end. My stream just all the things went wrong, but hey, we made it through. We'll get that squared away.
We're working on it. But anything we want to wrap up here in terms of revisiting that strategy on the map here, maybe perhaps before we.
We could take a quick look. I think that is a good idea. Switching over to our map room here. All from the Team 2 side, which was the KDCM side, interestingly enough, we did not see the outside push. We saw a little bit of movement in that general path there. James scouting it out over here in Delta 4, finding Bacon Lord just sitting up there on Delta 4. Not unwatched, but definitely a little more estranged from his teammates. And the rest of them just kind of gathered up here around Echo 4 and waited to make their push. And that is where that pincher movement came. Bacon Lord moved into the fight. KDCM began their push. Bacon Lord was like, yes, I will shoot these mechs, as he should. And then the light pack descended on him for their first kill. A couple of light shenanigans around the outside. But yeah, here we've got those... there it is. There's our death spots right there. That is where the fight took place.
Yeah.
That is where 5J was. They were a little bit... They did have mechs up on Echo 4 here as well, up in this corner.
Yeah.
I think there to differentiate. But yeah, they did have a couple mechs up on there, but KDCM had the mechs to push them off to do the damage.
Yeah, and KDCM killed the brawlers first. Like the catapult getting picked, and then the summoner was like second or third mech to go down. Summoners are relatively tanky, but they just focus fire blew the legs off so fast there. That, you know, they were killing the mechs that had the high DPS before kicking off the mechs that had the lower DPS in terms of like the laser vomit mech out in Fox 4, kind of being one of the last to go down.
Yep.
That's the way you want to do it. You want to take the DPS out first when you're in a brawl situation.
Yep. And KDCM using that cover too, like that only when they crossed over the saddle, they'd killed a few mechs at that point, were they sort of in range of that. In range of those blue lasers. Had a little moment there. Yeah.
I mean, the executioner was well positioned to get shots in, but that was just next target kind of idea, and the Marauder 2 pulled back from wherever it had initially set up, but it was 5 LPL that just ends up running hot once it gets jumped on. And the mislinks in the back, that's just something that is frustrating to try and deal with that type of a mech, that type of a build.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, I think, good build, but it just couldn't provide the overwatch, right? It got stuffed into a corner, had limited range, and was then forced into the brawl. And then James having some trouble. There was kind of an entertaining little fight. Dario trying to push him off, and James saying, "No, this one's mine."
Yeah, the melee combat coming in clutch there, you know.
Right, absolutely. No, that was last match. Yeah, that's basically how that brawl pushed out. And, you know, look at this pathing, folks. Look at the motion that went over here and where 5JD, you know, fell into a trap. And it's that Echo 4 death zone. KDCM just pushed them into it and pushed them out of those high spots and really executed that very well.
Yeah, well played from both teams. Intense, nice fight to watch. We got a real match here, not some 3-0 sweep. And coming up this evening, it's a 4th seed versus 5th seed, so that should be a tight match as well.
Yeah. Between
Dark Sea Corsairs and Sky Rangers, Jaegers. Jaegers, Jaguars, which one was it?
Jaegers?
Is it Jaegers or Jaguars? It's Jaegers, right?
Wait, I'm sorry. You're talking about what's coming up, right?
Yeah, the upcoming.
That's right. Yeah, Jaegers, German for hunters.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But for some reason, I was thinking Jaguars. Was there a Jaguars?
No. Okay, you might be thinking vaguely 5JDX has a Jaguar in their logo. Yeah. But here, I'm looking at the chat. They're going absolutely nuts, as they should be. Hell of a match. It is KDCM coming out ahead of us. We're going to wrap the stream here. Thank you, everybody, for coming by and dealing with our interstitial stuff. We'll be back again, like we said, with Jaegers v Dark Sea Corsairs. In another knockout single elimination. We'll see. Will we have another upset? I don't know. We'll see you in about 4 hours.
Yep.
And I'll see you soon, Therax.
Okay, great.
Go ahead and close out our streams.
That's it. Thanks for watching, everyone.